Hello, and welcome back to Inside the Mind. Again, I'm your host, Aaron Omer, as we take this opportunity to dive inside the minds and meet sport and performance psychology experts and find out their backgrounds, passions, and future plans within their own private businesses. For this week's episode, we had the honor to meet Drew Morgan. Drew earned his undergraduate degree in psychology at the College of Charleston and then went on to John F. Kennedy University, where he received two master's degrees in sports psychology and business administration. Drew currently works as a certified mental performance consultant through his private practice and a company called HigherEchelon, and has worked with a wide range of performers, including TSA agents, professional, collegiate, and youth athletes, business executives, underserved youth, and cancer survivors. Like always, please like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new content coming out soon. And for now, let's dive inside the mind of Drew Morgan. So to you, what is sport and performance psychology, and what is the importance or benefit of it for athletes and performers?
So my definition is sports psychology is a set of skills and theories, concepts that allow the individual to not let the situation dictate how you think, feel, and act. And so I think within that, the benefits are no matter the situation that you're thrust into, you have certain things that you can control that will help you get the performance that you're looking for.
That's cool. That's wonderful. It's an interesting definition because in our last episode, we talked with Dr. PR, and it's very interesting seeing how every single person has a different definition of what sports psychology is. But in a grand scheme of things, they're all wrapped around in the same bubble.
Yeah.
But there's like this unique uniformness to that idea of helping individuals grow mentally and not worrying about the result of it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I mean, my definition has definitely changed over the years, and it'll probably change again pretty soon. But yeah, I think I just more and more, for me, it's about, again, being able to knowing what you can control, and largely it's, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, so that whatever situation you're put into, that's not dictating your performance. You get to dictate it.
Wonderful. So we're going to jump back in time a little bit. So in 2012, you obtained your Bachelor of Science in Psychology at the College of Charleston. So walk us through your educational and your career background, starting at that point, and kind of how you got to now being an adjunct professor here at Holy Names.
Sure. So got that degree. That was a bit of a struggle for me. I had transferred to the College of Charleston from previous school where I was playing baseball and got injured and never really recovered from it. Always interested in psychology, graduated with the degree in psychology, as you mentioned. Then I just took kind of the first job I found working in sales, selling fitness equipment, and I hated it. Going to work every day, I would dread it and just really found no fulfillment or enjoyment or anything out of it. At some point in that part of my life, I heard about sports psychology, started reading up a little bit more about it. And that made me think back to the injury that I had. And I was like, oh, okay, there was something there. I was definitely struggling psychologically with my injury and recovering from it. I got really, really interested in it. And so I just kind of went all in. I applied to a bunch of graduate programs. I got into JFK University. And I asked my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, if she would like to go across the country with me to California and where I'm going to go to grad school. And she said yes. And so then we were out and, I went to JFK and I got my master's degree in sports psychology. I got my MBA at the same time. I had a number of amazing experiences. I got to travel to Colombia and work with some archery coaches. I had some great internships along the way. And then from there, when I graduated, I got hired by a company on a contract teaching mental skills to TSA officers at the airport. So I did that for about 2 years. I was just training a lot of TSA officers, just cycling through probably, I think, taught over about 600 TSA officers, mental skills, which was really interesting, a really interesting population that I never thought in a million years I would work with.
Definitely.
And that kind of brings me to now where I'm working in my private practice where I work with athletes, mentalcoachmorgan.com, check me out. And I teach here at Holy Names University a little bit. And that's me in a nutshell.
So, I mean, I definitely want to jump back to the TSA part, because that's an area that I personally have never heard of that even need mental skills training. So kind of what's the difference? Like, where do you see a difference between what they do as TSA agents in the airport versus sport and athletes and performers? I mean, where also is the bridge and the connection between the two?
Yeah, so I also didn't see that connection or know really what their performance was. And so, as I've gone along in my education and in life, I've realized like we are all performers throughout our day. Our day consists of multiple performances, just kind of strung together, and we can always do things to kind of maximize those performances. And so for TSA, they have a number of challenges, and being able to stay locked in and focused when 99.9% of the bags that you're checking is not going to be a threat, but you have to treat each bag as if there's going to be some sort of contraband or weapon or something in there. That's really hard to do. And it's just like a baseball player going up, they have to take each pitch coming at them as a new pitch, right? They have to look at each bag as a new bag. And there's also elements of, emotional control that they have to deal with. Passenger comes up and they're late for their flight and they start bitching at the TSA officer. They got to stay calm and composed and be able to shake that off and go on to the next passenger. So really a lot of elements that was kind of surprising as I was learning more and more about TSA, about how applicable these skills really are.
Coach Morgan started in June of 2018. So what was the inspiration to begin your own private practice after getting your degree from JFK? Stop at that.
I always knew I wanted to have my own business, my own private practice, which is why I got my MBA at the same time. I got my master's degree in sports psychology. I always knew I wanted, and I'm still growing it. I've got a vision for what it will be one day, and I'm working towards that. Slow and steady, but it's a grind. It's hard, as any entrepreneur would tell you. But it's fun and learning a lot along the way.
So like transitioning more into the personal side. So like what drives or motivates you to help people maximize their abilities and fulfill their ultimate potential? And I guess that's the backing, what driving what Mental Coach Morgan is all about. So for you, just what is that motivational factor for you to help people get to where they need to be?
This has changed also over the years, and my mission as it is now is less so about high performance as it is about just teaching these skills to as many people as I can. And more, I think that is becoming my mission and my guidepost, because they are so valuable. And nobody teaches these things. It's like, these are skills and concepts that athletes or individuals learn through experience, I think, a lot of the times. But nobody's ever taught them, like in school, you're never taught them explicitly. And they should be. They should absolutely be taught explicitly at a young age. This should be part of a curriculum. And I strongly believe that. And not only will is the result of going to be higher performance, but also just more fulfillment. And that is what I'm aimed at. Is I think performance increments are going to be an outcome of it that is going to kind of take care of itself a lot of times, but as is fulfillment. And I think that is, for me, more valuable than the like performing well. I get more joy and satisfaction with an athlete coming up to me after working with them and being like, Drew, like I just had like the unbelievable time out on the golf course. Like I just love being out there because of what we were talking about. Like I was able to rise to the occasion like I never had before. Like I didn't win, but I still had a great time. I'd rather hearing that fulfillment than athlete winning and maybe not having that experience as much.
So it's that thought of growth as a person versus the growth as a performer. Like your goal is growing that individual more as a person, and then that outcome of their performance excelling there, kind of that angle.
Yeah, I think so. I think you hit it on the head there. Yeah.
Cool. That's great. So kind of, what does your future look like in this field? Or growing Mental Coach Morgan to his biggest capacity, continue teaching, working with professional teams or professional athletes. What's your future looking like?
I want to start a branch or some part of my work working with underserved youth. That's an area that I'm really passionate about. Something I did during my graduate school is doing workshops and things for underserved youth, because unfortunately our field is one of privilege. Like it costs money to hire a mental coach or a sports psychologist. Not everybody can afford it, and these skills shouldn't be just for the privileged. So that's definitely something that I'm working towards, as well as just build my brand and grow my business into large enough that I can expose this field to as many people as I can.
One-on-one training versus group session training. Do you see a major difference in that? Do you approach it differently? Do you have a preference over which one you would like?
I find the experience for myself is very different. I love workshops. I love doing them. I love speaking in front of a group. That is true. Like my real performance. Like that's my game time. That gets me nervous and adrenaline's going, and I got to be really prepared, and I'm excited and all of that. And so the way I still try to bring myself, but it is a more energetic and self than I would in one-on-one sessions. And in that it's, obviously you can go deeper in the skills, and you can ask more questions and be a little bit more, ask for more introspection. So I couldn't say that one is better than the other. I think the workshops, the value in those is that you're obviously able to spread it to a larger, wider audience. Whereas the benefit with the one-on-one obviously is going deeper and challenging that individual in ways that maybe they haven't been challenged before.
I mean, we could wrap it up at this one. Just what advice do you have for not just our cohort and the students at Holy Names who are growing in this field, but what advice do you have just in general for future practitioners and how they can excel now to help them down the line being the best practitioner they could possibly be?
A couple things. Number one is say yes to everything. Every opportunity, no matter how small or insignificant it might seem in that moment, say yes, because at the end of the day, it's a small field and everybody basically knows each other in a couple of degrees of separation. So reputation, and a good reputation, will spread quickly. So taking every opportunity to meet with people and do work for them, and whatever that looks like, that opportunity is, say yes to everything you can. Secondly is you have to do good work. I mean, the work that you are doing, you can't just wing it. You can't go into a one-on-one session and just wing it. Know what your intent is, have theories that you rely on, be dedicated to your craft in a really serious way, because you go into situations unprepared, you go into a workshop and might be fuzzy on a concept here or there. You're not going to be as effective as you could be. And so at the end of the day, I firmly believe, and have been told this by mentors as well, that you just got to do good work. If you do good work and you consistently do good work, good things are going to happen. I believe that. And doing good work also means, to me, knowing when to risk it, knowing when you're getting comfortable and saying, okay, I need to switch things up. How can I do things differently? How can I add to what I'm already doing? How can I be better at what I'm doing? So just like any athlete would be asking themselves, how can I get better? We have to be asking the same question.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. I think a lot of future practitioners and our students as well would take great heed to what you just said. So with that being said, Drew Morgan, I want to thank you for taking the time to jump on Inside the Mind with me. I really appreciate you diving into what sports psychology is, the importance behind it, your background, your career, and what we look forward to when we follow Drew Morgan